let's keep it moving. Airbus single pilot ops. Who wants to take that one to go?
Yeah, I mean, this is mainly going on. Airbus is obviously made in France, so this is a Europe thing. But I did a little bit of research on this as well, and it looks like they're retrofitting or they're starting testing on Airbus 350. And the whole idea on this single pilot ops is number one, probably financial for the airline. And I started digging into it a little bit deeper. Instead, if there's a certain flight time where airlines are required to bring more than two pilots, and I can't remember if it's 9 or 10 or 11 hours. Somebody would have to fact check me on that. But there's on these big transatlantic, these big aircraft routes, they're having to pay for four pilots because of crew rest issues. Now they're saying that they can only bring two pilots, and during the critical phase of flight, such as takeoff, landing, adverse weather, there'll be two pilots in the aircraft. But during cruise, where you're just sitting straight and level for hours at a time, they're actually retrofitting these aircraft so only one pilot is in the cockpit, even to the point where they're installing a restroom in the cockpit. So there's
It's
always somebody up
ridiculous.
there. And this is taking on a lot of traction. You can go online, and all the airline pilot associations have something to say about this because they're trying to protect our jobs. And I think it is important to mention there's one union contract that requires two pilots on board at all times, and that's
Is that
Delta.
Delta? Yep.
So Delta is a little bit ahead of the game. They might have seen this coming, and the pilots are smart enough now to say, there it is right there.
Yeah, it's an AI rendering, but it's this is the one that was floating around, right?
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah,
I would
exactly.
love to have a bathroom in my cockpit.
And
It's so much easier.
And and what really sparked my interest on this again is Lufthansa. They just published an incident. It happened in 2024, and they published it. The investigation finished a couple weeks ago, where they had a captain that left to go to the restroom outside of the cockpit. Well, the first officer, who was the only one in the cockpit at the time, became incapacitated. Nobody knows if it was food poisoning. Nobody knows exactly what it is. They're pretty tight-lipped on it. But the captain was locked out of the cockpit for 8 to 10 minutes with an incapacitated first officer. Nobody flying the aircraft. Nobody talking to ATC.
You think he just fell asleep?
No.
There's no medical issue,
We've all thought it before.
Yeah, man. I always wonder, last night coming back from El Salvador, I was thinking, I'm like, how do we have millions of flights per year on red eyes? How has there never been people that both fallen asleep?
Oh, it's happened several times. Yeah. Yeah,
But it doesn't make the news.
Oh, it does, but it gets suppressed pretty quick. But it's been covered in the news. I'll see if I can find some
Have you
articles.
seen the Northwest incident back in the Northwest? Yeah. I mean, whenever something gets that crazy, whenever you overfly your destination by 100 miles because you're both on your
computers.
laptop, that'll hit national news. Yeah.
Yeah, that was over like Minneapolis or something. They just kept going. Yeah.
But here Airbus again. Airbus and Boeing are huge competitors. It's all about the dollar. If they can sell and save the airline money for having one pilot up there, they're doing it, and they're the first one to the punch. So stay tuned. I'm interested to see how that's going to go. Nothing will happen fast.
No,
but it is in development.
I was just having this conversation on a commute with a guy a couple days back. I think it is possible in our lifetimes, we're all young enough that we might end up seeing some form of single pilot ops. I don't think I don't think we'll see zero pilot ops. I don't think at the current way life's going, I don't think the general public's going to trust for that. But that could change too. I mean, with self-driving automated cars coming, that's getting really popular. You go to I went to San Francisco a couple weeks ago we had like a long 30-hour layover. Ubers were starting to go away. It's all Waymos out there. It's all these automated cars, and they're like really nice cars. I didn't get in one, but I'm still I don't trust it yet, but they're all nice cars. They're like Cadillacs and stuff too. And the guy
they were in Phoenix for 5 years.
Yeah.
So I've seen them around,
The guy that pulls up in my Ubers in a, janky old Corolla that's literally falling apart, or I can get in this Cadillac that's super comfy, well, it's probably the same price too. I don't know, man. It's possible it's going to happen.
I think so. Did you see the stuff that came out maybe a month or two ago from Airbus on the new generation of A320s they're going to come out with in about a decade?
Is that what the open fan concept?
Yeah, but the technology they want to go through is AI, and I guarantee you, this is the last generation of A320s that are going to be dual pilot. The ones they start coming out with in 2035 and 2040,
Yes, this is what sparked the big Alpha, the big Alpha articles against the single pilot ops, right? When they announced that new concept for the airplane.
yeah, I don't know. I think
Yeah,
this was
yeah,
like 2 or 3 months ago, and it
yeah.
was. So I think genuinely, these airplanes are going to have to be in service for a while to make money. Obviously, they're 40-year lifespan for like an Airbus or a 737. But these next generation of airplanes, there is no way in hell that they're going to make these two pilot. I just don't think so.
Mm.
That's my own opinion. That's 10, 15 years away from right now. Think about this. 15 years ago, what was it? 2010? Think about where the world was in 2010 versus now. And we're
Nice.
at the precipice of some really big fundamental changes in our economies and technologies. So that's my opinion. I don't know, other than Delta's contract, which they're going to get paid out insane money if they do have to switch that out of their contract. I think that's something that every airline should be fighting for right now, is if they want that. Because in my mind, I was talking about this with the captain. I was like, what are they going to do with 50% of the pilots? Are they just going to furlough them, or is there going to be something from the government saying that you have to give them some kind of disability or something?
That's
That if
been
you're just going to,
yeah. They've been talking
like,
about
what are
that
you
on
going
a
to
lot of
do?
podcasts. Yeah,
Because
yeah,
we actually have money to govern, or we have money to go throw at lobbyists to go do something about that, hopefully. So I don't know. That's my
well,
point of view, but
And there is probably some people listening now saying, well, there's some citations and there's airplanes that are made to be flown single pilot, and
oh
that's
yeah, I was
fine.
single pilot in the Phenom.
I was single pilot as well. And the big gotcha on that is all those aircraft are either under a Part 91 or a Part 135. We're talking about 121 airline, the flying public single pilot operations. Whenever you take a 135 flight and you take a Part 91 flight, they're under a completely different list of regulations.
Yeah,
So I think that is important to note. Yeah, you can go out and you'll see guys flying a single pilot citation around, perfectly legal, but under 135 and 91, you're taking a certain risk that is out of the language of the Part 121
well,
regulations.
and it has to do with, like, you're talking about risk acceptability, right? So, Part 135 is the charter operations, and Part 91 is private jet kind of and private operation stuff. But those aircraft, at most, the Gulfstream that you fly, Connor, is like up to 19 seats or something, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
those aircraft don't carry more than 15, 20 passengers at most. Most of the time they're configured for 10ish at most, so
Right.
we're not talking about hundreds of people at risk. That's
If
why,
something was, yeah, right, exactly.
that's why commercial airlines, these big airliners, they fall under a different certification because you're carrying hundreds of people, and you can't do single pilot in those aircraft. It's completely different. So
I thought it was important to bring up.
yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you did. John, you got anything else to add on that before we move on?
no, I just like think about going into Reno or somewhere like there, like the bounce landing or the single engine takeoff stuff. Imagine in those 320s or 73s doing a single pilot off that. Dude, I'm not doing
Bro,
that job if they're not. I'm not I'm because the odds of you making one mistake and something happening are way higher, and it's all about risk mitigation. So I think what happens if they ever try to go to no pilots or the single pilots have issues in terms of once a couple crashes happen, the insurance companies aren't going to insure it anymore. And that's the
mm-hmm.
end of the game there.
Yep.
So they're taking an immense risk in developing a program if it's only for single pilot with no right seat. It'll be interesting. Maybe they have the capability of right seat as a fail safe in case it can't get certified. And at least they still have some kind of platform that they can sell to airlines for cost efficiencies and all that. But if they just go one seat, holy shit, dude! Like that's a huge gamble. It's hundreds of billions of dollars that Airbus is putting their money where their mouth is, and they're pretty damn sure it's going to work. So,
Yep. Do you guys ever watch the YouTube Lego Living the Dream videos?
living the dream.
Living the dream. So the guy, the channel name is like Ballrock 12. I'll put a link to it in there. But the last one he like did one of them, which was super popular, and then he didn't do a bunch, and then he knocked out 3 more. The last one at the end of it is like he wakes up from the dream that was the whole video,
Yeah.
and he's single pilot, and the little robo autopilot next to him is like waking him up, like, you don't have approved sleep time. If I can link it in here, I'll put it. I'll put it, or if I can add it in after and post and not get in trouble with YouTube, I'll do it. Or maybe
And
I'll
they're going to
reach
have
out to
to
him.
have a
Yeah.
certain regulation like that, because I think of like Tesla. Tesla's self-driving, but your hands have to be on the wheel in order for it to accelerate,
Well,
stop,
right
and go.
now, that's how FSD is. But as it, because they're using, it's crazy. Tesla's so smart. They're using their customers as their beta testers. And once they can prove to the DOT that, hey, we've got hundreds of thousands or millions of hours now of this working, then they can get their approval and sign off for full self-driving, right? It's crazy. It's coming. It's coming.
Weird times,
Yep.
2025.
And that statement right there, this example at the end here is exactly why at the beginning I said, like, with the current way things are, I don't think passengers are ready for it. But, in 10 years, once all cars are automated and everyone's cool with that, they might start getting comfortable with automated cockpits. We'll see.